Anima Flux just got released and I played a couple of hours of it in co-op with my friend. This is kind of a cool and interesting idea as it is a co-op Metroidvania where one is playing a ranged character and the other one is playing a character with a giant sword. The characters are genetically enhanced super soldiers and you're tasked with trying to save the last human stronghold basically from a bug invasion or more mutated bugs and other creatures. I do like the style of the game. It definitely stands out and look kind of drawn, and you have these beautiful areas from high sci-fi to like the sewer areas and destroyed city landscape and areas that are really dark and kind of invites that horror vibe to it. The game is definitely playing with a lot of colors, which is nice to see. The characters are easy to distinguish between each other. One is red and the other one is blue. And with the characters having different playstyles, you are kind of always separate on the screen as well, which is nice. I don't think you can play the game online in co-op. I think it's only couch co-op. But you have remote play together via Steam, so that can be utilized, and that's what we utilized. And it works flawlessly in this game. I thought it was going to be kind of crowded on the screen, but it actually works really well. You have a few places where there is a lot of enemies on the screen, and you kind of have to put some distance between you and your friend. But other than that, I think it works really well. What kind of surprised me is how little development there is of the characters. It is a Metroidvania, so you have skills that will be unlocked once you kill a boss or do certain things. And these abilities will after that unlock new areas to explore and so forth and so on. But from the start of the game you only have one attack and then also one special move. So the girl with the bow can do a backstep and leave like a holographic ghost. That enemy will attack rather than you. And the sword guy have a stun attack. But other than that you don't have much else in the beginning. And what's also kind of frustrating in the beginning is how many new areas you get introduced to. And there is a small loading screen between each of these areas. And it was kind of disorienting in the beginning as there were so many places to visit. But once we had that figured out and killed a boss or two, I think, we got a power shot, so basically a heavy attack, and we got the rage. And that will put you in a rage state for a few seconds where you can deal massive damage. And then while you play you'll also get a currency that you can spend at certain NPCs to enhance your character or get passive benefits like an improved map. You can buy armor cells. The armor will block an attack, and to replenish this, the enemies can drop armor once you kill them. We also got stun grenade and arrow, so these can obviously be used in combat, but also to interact with certain environments. And from what I can see, there are a few more to unlock. So you definitely have a bunch of skills and passive buffs to help you that you will find by exploring, killing bosses, and just progressing in the game. But the issue with the world isn't just that it is a bunch of loading screens. They aren't long, these loading screens. They're just a few seconds, but the screen turns black and you enter the new area. So you have these small interconnected areas and they are separated by a small loading screen. And this makes up like the city or the sewers. But then between the city and the sewers you have elevators. And if there were just elevators between these big areas I would be fine, but you have elevators everywhere. So in the city section you have elevators at a bunch of places. Instead of having more rooms and having a more interconnected map that have just more content in it. Just pile on a bunch of rooms with enemies and challenges and puzzles instead of having elevators and small loading screens that cut up the map. And all of this led to a kind of a frustrating experience. So I think the developers should have done a better job of mapping the game and make it more streamlined how you travel between the areas. Like I'm fine with a bit of backtracking, but there should be shortcuts you unlock instead of a new elevator you unlock. I don't think there are that many co-op Metroidvanias out there, and this is definitely a cool and interesting one. Like I love the aesthetic and what they're trying to do here. I just think the lack of skills for the characters is a detriment to the game, because the combat in the early hours is kind of boring. Like it definitely gets better once you get a few attacks and actually can do a few things with your character. But I do think it would have been better to save the Metroidvania progression with items that doesn't really affect the characters and maybe have like individual skill trees where you can actually choose a bit of how you want your playstyle to be instead. That to me would have been more interesting. The game can be played in single player and you'll switch between the characters, and I think the AI will take over from time to time to help you out with the other character that you're not playing. And I'm not really interested in trying out this game in single player. If you buy this this, I think you should play it in co-op, because it's definitely built for that. But this one is hard to recommend, just because of how tedious the travel between everything is, and kind of how uninteresting the combat is. I've also uploaded a video with some co-op gameplay if you want to see that as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.